It sure is. Well, howdy, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Art Live, and thanks for tuning in and watching. If you're here already, that's awesome. I see a couple people in chat, and um, if you're watching the replay, thanks for coming by. Thanks for checking it out. We're going to be doing some lettering today with, hey, Jerry, with these glass dip pens. So we're going to check that out. And we are also going to be getting all my windows here, getting it going, getting it started. Getting it set up, you know. It takes a while to get it all going, like a while, in terms of the night of actually doing it or the day of actually doing it, but also like just figuring it out. I'm still figuring it out. But I think I'm doing all right. As long as you can hear me. Can you hear me? I assume you can hear me. I do see some comments, so I know there are some people there. And this is November. I've been doing this art of gratitude all month. Kind of doing a daily gratitude practice and just consciously being grateful for something every day. So we're going to take a look through that book in a little while because we're up to 21. Holy cow. Like 2/3 of the way through the month. Not quite sure how that happened. Where does the time go? Hey, that's one of the things in our gratitude book, time. So we're going to take a look at that. And this month I've been incorporating lettering into all my designs. So I thought tonight, hey, there's time. So I thought tonight we'd talk about lettering, and I do a little lettering with dip pens because it's pretty fun. I like lettering with them. I like lettering with these glass dip pens a lot better than lettering with metal nib dip pens. Those tend to kind of catch and snag when you change direction on your paper if you're not super careful. But the tip on these glass pens really doesn't snag at all. It's super rounded off right there, right at the end. It's not, I mean, it looks pointy, but it's actually round right on the end. So it doesn't really snag on the paper, which is nice. Hey, Randy, glad you're here. Yeah, don't worry about texting. It's all good. He's the traveling man, Randy. I know he puts on the miles. He's traveling again.
Where's he going?
I think I have an idea what his destination is tomorrow, but I don't know what it is today. I think he's going to hang out with Swifty tomorrow. They've got some plans to go metal detecting a couple of different places, so that'll be interesting. It's always interesting to see what they find. I don't know if you've seen Swifty's video where I ask him what's in his finds pouch. What'd you bring home today? And he dumps it out there on the picnic table, and we take a look. That's a fun one. There's actually, I think there's two of those now. Hey, what's in the pouch? So you get to see everything, all the trash, all the treasure, everything, all the odd things like the toothpaste tube. What on earth? That was crazy. Crazy, crazy. So yeah, let's take a look back through November, what we got going here so far. So, last month I did that was my first month of giving myself this drawing every day art challenge. And I called it Arttober. And it was really fun. I love Halloween and that time of year, so it was super fun coming up with a different drawing subject every day and um, making some fun doodles. And then Park Rat Pat gave me the idea of giving away those drawings, and I was like, "Oh, that's a cool idea." Um, hey, Randy, yeah, I saw that GTO video. I haven't looked at it yet, but I saw where you posted it. I'm like, "What on earth?" Uh, but yeah, Park Rat Pat gave me the idea to give away all the drawings, and so I did a contest in October, and I gave away all the drawings from October, and actually Randy won those. So I haven't heard if he's gotten them in the mail yet, but maybe I'll hear tomorrow. Hey, Squeak. Hey, Bill. Glad you're here. Good to see you. I was just about to take a look back through November here at our Art of Gratitude book. It's been really fun to think of things I'm grateful for too, you know. Hey, speaking of life and the tree of life, how's Mama Squeak doing? Hope she's doing good. Recovering, getting a little better every day. Thinking about you guys. It's hard when Mama's not feeling good. It's hard. I understand. Oh, sending some love and prayers that way, hoping she's on the mend. But yeah, life. Gotta appreciate it every day, right?
Like the tree of life.
Yeah, the tree of life, exactly. And Sunshine, she's doing better. I'm glad. I'm glad. Mushrooms, still one of my favorites from this month. Water. Um, so if you were in on the giveaway last month, the contest, you had to pick which was your favorite drawing from the month. So I think I'm going to do a similar thing this month. So I don't know if you've thought about which one might be your favorite. Excuse me, favorite so far, but I'm leaning towards mushrooms. I love mushrooms, and I like this sketch a lot. I'm looking forward to drawing more mushrooms with these dip pens. Water, plants, all the plants of the earth, right? Oh, hey, cool. I'm glad, Randy. He said he got them. Mountains. I'm really grateful for the mountains. I live in the mountains, and they're just full of beauty every day. Wild beauty. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, too. Books. I'm grateful for books. Looking at this drawing cracks me up because this is the video where Hansel was I had just had to stop drawing for a little while because he was so into it. He was trying to play with my pen, and it was just, I've had a couple of kitty drawing disasters like that recently. I mean, it wasn't anything I couldn't bounce back from, but geez Louise. He was up here earlier and he was sleeping in the kitty bed, but now he's doing something else. Tea. Flowers. That one's in the running for my favorite too. I really like that design. The colors. That was really fun. Rain, another variation on water there. Gotta have that to make your flowers and your plants look nice. Art. I knew ever since I was like old enough to be aware of myself that I was meant to be an artist. Ocean. Okay, I really like this one too. Do I have to pick a favorite? I don't have to pick a favorite. You have to pick a favorite. It's going to be challenging, but you have a little bit of time. I'm not going to start the contest until after the end of the month when all the drawing videos have been posted. Then I'll make a contest, and we'll run it through the beginning of December. Definitely grateful for music. That's what brought Swifty and I together. Meditation, how I keep my sanity, my connection. Growth. I really love this one too, the spirals. The moon. Did you see the lunar eclipse? What night was that? Thursday night? I woke up a couple of times in the middle of the night and got up and saw kind of the beginning and when it was almost all the way eclipsed and the actually the between like 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., the moon is right in our bedroom window and we can see. So we just kind of got to lay in bed and watch the lunar eclipse go across the sky. That was pretty cool. Serendipity. I don't believe anything is really uh, coincidental. I think, you know, things are connected and attached and happen for a reason, serendipitous reason. And then that brings us to today's seasons. So I imagined like all the four seasons just in one leaf, the bright green of spring, the lush green of summer, showing its true colors in the fall when all that chlorophyll goes away, and then a brown, crispy one for winter. We're on the bleak edge of winter look here. It's been pretty windy, and most of all of the leaves are gone off the trees, I noticed today when I was looking out the window. So fall is really on its way out here. I'm going to miss it. I like fall. Hey, let's break out some glass dip pens. Oh, that's a good question, Swifty. What are the chances? Hey, so we were talking about lettering. That's what I'm going to do tonight. Work on some lettering. Like I've been doing lettering all this month in my gratitude journal, and I've really been enjoying doing some lettering in my classes with my kids. So I thought it would be neat to do some dip pen lettering tonight. Anybody else here into fancy writing, calligraphy, or anything like that? I've kind of always been into it. It was one of the, I can try. There we go. It's looking pretty good. I've always been interested in fancy lettering, and when I was in high school, really getting into art, I studied calligraphy, and that was the time before printers. Everybody had a printer, and nobody had a printer. Yes, Squeak, I know you are. I've seen your drawings. That's cool. I think you would enjoy these. Um, Lost my train of thought reading those comments. You'll have that. Oh, I know. I was talking about calligraphy and lettering. Yeah, so actually, maybe that was my first real art job was calligraphy because back then people didn't have, you know, who had a printer? Nobody had a printer. Certificates, wedding invitations, anything fancy was hand done. And I was amazed how much people paid for that service. So I think that was, my first art business. So these are called glass dip pens, obviously, because you dip them into the ink. There are other pens, like, modern ballpoint pens that we use that have sealed up ink, which is fabulous because you can just write something and it doesn't have to be um, messy. You can just pick up a pen and write. The ink is there. But these, you just dip the pen right in the ink and the ink gathers in the flutes of the pen. You can kind of see where it's darker there. So it hangs out in those flutes, and when the tip of the pen touches the paper, the ink flows out, along with the gold glitter that's in there. Oh, it's fantabulous. And you don't have to press down, the ink just flows. It uses capillary action, so um, you don't have to apply any pressure at all. Pressure won't change the some media that you use, pressure changes the line quality, like the metal nib dip pens that have two sides that are split. Uh, the more pressure you apply to them, the bigger the split, and so the wider the line. But this just has the one point, so pressure isn't going to change it. And since you can't get a varying width of line with this by using pressure, the way that you vary your line width is going back in and adding some weight by drawing. So you can take your time and make your lettering look the way that you want it to. I don't know if you can see it from your side, but I can really see the glitter in the screen. It's gold, and the cool thing is now the bottom of my water cup is all sparkly. And to add a little weight to my letters, I just pick a pattern of which part of my letter I'm going to add a little line thickness to. I'm picking the verticals. You could do more of an angle, or but this just mimics what a chisel pen would do. Um, when you change directions, when you're doing calligraphy with a old style, like a metal pen or a quill, which is what the metal pens were built to imitate, a feather pen. We made those one year when I was teaching. I made those with my students. We went on a field trip to a place called Pharsalia. I believe it was a plantation, but now the family that owns it runs history classes out of there. They have a working kitchen. The kit like a I guess 1900 no 1800s kitchen, outdoor kitchen. Um, so they do a lot of education things with kids, and we took a group of kids up there one time, and one of the things that they did with them was make feather pens and actual feather dip pens, and they actually all sat down and cut their own pens out of a feather and drew with them. That was a really quite the learning experience for them. And just trying to imagine, like, that was the only way to write something. Kind of a trip back in time to realize how challenging it was. There are a lot of things that we take for granted here in our modern world, and it's important to remember to be grateful for them and show some gratitude. And what a better month for showing some gratitude than November? So this is the stopper that came out of the ink bottle, and it's nice that it has that stopper because the gold settles. You can see it's already settling some just since I've been using it. So every time you use them, you have to shake it to suspend the gold again, and If you don't have that little rubber plug in there, just the screw cap, it's a big mess. Ask me how I know. First time I did it with the black, I was like, oh my goodness, what it was everywhere. So yeah, I learned and I made a video. Do it this way. Learn from my mistake. Don't make the same mistake I did. It is nice that we can learn from each other's learning, right? I do that a lot. YouTube is great for learning stuff and for teaching stuff and for hanging out. Glad you're here hanging out. What are you up to this evening? You have YouTube on while you're doing something else, or got a little gold I'm trying to shake up in there? Who does my nails? I do my nails. I have 3 red nails right now because Swifty and I did a show yesterday and I was selling Color Street nails at the show. Did a couple of samples, to show people how it works. But obviously I only did 3 samples, so the rest of my nails, they got to catch up. Hey, thanks, Squeak. It's really fun to do fancy lettering, and I'm going to try to show you the glitter. I think maybe you can see a little glittery there. Oh, I think it's fairly amazing in real life. Like even after it dries, the glitter stands out more. It's super cool.
Christmas time's coming.
Oh yeah. Well, this week, yeah. Holy cow, this week is Thanksgiving. Can you believe it? Can't believe it. This week is Thanksgiving. Doesn't seem possible. A couple of these warm colors tend to really make a lot of bubbles when I shake them up, so I help those dissipate a little. But I dip in my pen in there because I found that if you have a lot of bubbles on your pen, when you go to draw, sometimes it just goes and makes a big mess. So you don't want that. Like you can see how much more diffused my first mark was here than this mark because all those bubbles, well, that changes the surface tension of the ink and makes it flow faster. So I'm gonna get rid of those bubbles. There we go. It's always nice to have a little practice piece too, off to the side. Sometimes when it doesn't hurt to take your first little stroke on there after you've dipped your pen just to make sure there's not a blob on the end, because that could be a bad day. You've spent all this time on this drawing and then a little ink blob goes pew,
How's it go?
pew. Makes a funny noise, like ink blobs do. Since I've been using this dip pen, I've been thinking about, people writing this way in the past and sort of all the things that go along with writing with a dip pen, like inkwells and desks that have little hollowed out places for inkwells and blotter paper, desk blotters. The ink takes a while to dry, so if you were impatient for something to dry, you could use a blotter, just like your table would be this special paper that was really absorbent. So after you wrote something, you could even just lay it straight down and get a lot of the extra ink off so it would dry faster. Because I imagine that could be a little annoying. Like I enjoy it for drawing because I take my time. But if I had to write something and get it done and give it to somebody, it would be really annoying to just have to wait for the ink to dry. Got this kind of warm, glowy feeling for gratitude here. Hey, thanks. Thanks, you guys. Thanks, you gals. Thanks, everybody. It's really fun to draw. Swifty, we were having dinner before live tonight, and he said, "Well, have you thought about what you're going to draw tonight?" And I told him, "Yeah, I'm going to do some lettering, with the glass dip pens, because I've been doing that in the book and blah, blah, blah." And he said, "Well, have you thought about what you're going to write?" I said, "No." But I knew I'd have an idea when I sat down. It's funny. If I was just sitting in another chair and I was trying to think of something to draw, I might have a hard time coming up with something sometimes. But if I sit down at my drawing table and I get everything out and I have that paper in front of me and everything's ready to go, usually an idea comes, something shows up like, "Okay, try this." So yeah, we were talking about gratitude and November and Thanksgiving and thought, okay, we can write gratitude. I like how that turned out. And I had a couple of suggestions this week. Okay, one from one person that's been telling me this for quite some time. And another person, it was the first time he told me that, but I should design some cards. So I'm going to design some cards. And I think the glass dip pen is like the inspiration, the style that I want to go with for that. So my Art of Gratitude book, wherever I put it around here it is. I think of as sort of my practice book with my dip pens, my getting started and my warm up. Yeah, my warm up. There you go. Kind of seeing what they do, trying out different things. Um, yeah, it's been really fun. And the good thing is it's just beginning. Mm, fall landscape. That's a good suggestion. We could do that. I'm grateful for the suggestion, Squeak. Fall landscape. I could do some fall mountains. And I've learned with the ink, it's kind of better to work from the top down because it takes a while to dry, like I was saying. I have at times, no pun intended, put my hand right in the wet ink. Like when I was doing that time drawing, I didn't let I was impatient and I didn't let the lettering dry enough. And I was working on some details in the watch, the clock, and put my hand right in the lettering and I smeared it a little. But you know what? It's a real thing. It has errors and flaws, like me. There are quite a few cultures around the globe actually who have beliefs about art and things that people make. And especially a belief that an error or a flaw, a mistake, is actually the place where the spirit comes in. So, like when Navajo rug weavers made an error, they didn't fix it because that is the place where the spirit comes in. And they aren't the only culture who believes that. It's a really interesting recurring belief about art and errors. So don't feel bad about your mistakes. It's places where the spirit can come in. And maybe what we think of as a mistake is not really a mistake. All right, we got some sky going here. Make these lines a little, some of these lines a little heavier. Add a little variety. That's always good for a drawing. This one has kind of reminded me of the ocean drawing. A whole lot of different horizontal lines together, to me, is a really interesting way to make a landscape. It's kind of a challenge, how can you do a lot with very little? Let's see. I'm going to make my fall landscape mountains all dressed up in fall colors. Adventures with Swifty sketches. That's funny. That would be a funny book, I'll tell you that. How do I change inks? I just get a new bottle. So I have 12 colors in my set here. And when you want a new color, you just open a new bottle. Speaking of, I think I'm done with my red there. I'm going to add some red orange. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, when you change colors, just like a paintbrush, you want to rinse the ink off. So what you don't see off the camera here is my water cup. So when you want to change colors, you just got to rinse it off. Swifty was asking me a question, and I didn't understand his question totally. And then I dry my pen off, just with some paper towels. And after each drawing session, I wash my pen with soap. So I kind of get rid of any residue. After you use it for a while, if you don't wash it, it wants to hold the ink less and less. So it kind of gets a little coating on there. So you just freshen it up and you're good to go. All right, some more fall colors here. I was looking in our woods today, and there still are a few trees holding on to some leaves. There's a pretty dogwood out there with leaves kind of this color, sort of a red-violet color. But most of the trees have said sayonara to their leaves, all gone. But there are a few hanging on out there, and they're darn pretty. I heard something big wandering around in the woods today, crunching some sticks. Might have been a bear. I never did see it. It was up in the holler where I couldn't see. I definitely heard it. One thing I did see a lot of today, though, were woodpeckers. I don't know why. I saw like 8 woodpeckers today. Oh, yes. Well, I keep, it's funny you should ask Squeak. She said, do I keep that water bucket there all the time, or do the cats ever knock it over? The cats are fascinated by it. 2 of the cats love water. Hansel is always trying to drink out of it. I could be like, no, don't drink that. I don't think it would be good for you. And have they ever knocked it down and messed up my drawings? They haven't knocked the water over recently, but I have had some near disasters where they're trying to play with the ink. I'm here drawing and they're trying to like bat the ink bottle or bat my pen while I'm drawing. Like, holy cow. I have had to just stop drawing before and put everything away. I mean, just like everything, and go play with the cat because he would not leave me alone. He was like, I need to play, and either you're going to play with me with this fun drawing stuff, which he really loves. Hansel loves all this drawing stuff. Or you're going to come play with me in this cardboard box. So I just put everything away and went and played with the cat. I gave up. He was being so nutty. About a half an hour ago, he was up here on my drawing table, and I thought, oh, he's going to hang around for my life and be a pill, isn't he? But I think he wore himself out earlier. He was pretty much being a pill earlier, so I think he needed to take a break. He's probably sleeping somewhere now. Kind of like Tom Sawyer getting into trouble, you mean? Let's go to some orange here. This set does have a really nice variety of colors. And then I was looking at ink the other day on Amazon, and up popped this 24 set of ink. I was like, ooh, the same kind of ink with the gold. I was like, oh, now that's interesting. Got some bright orange going here for our mountains. Fall is one of my favorite times to be in the mountains. We used to camp a lot when I was a kid, in the Great Smoky Mountains and up around Pisgah and off the Parkway in North Carolina, Table Rock down in South Carolina. And fall was always my favorite. It's just so gorgeous up in the mountains. Right. I don't know if you can see all the sparkly in the bottom of my water cup. I don't think you can. You can see it better when I dump the water out. Yeah, it's got like a perma layer of sparkle down there now, stuck in all the paint goop at the bottom. Probably not enough to bother reclaiming, but I considered it. Oh yeah, I do love the Great Smoky Mountains. Aren't they really incredible? And there's so many interesting historical places in there too, like the little there's a couple of, I can't remember the names of the towns, but there's a couple of little towns that they've kind of restored, to be historical living farms or reenactments, sort of, of history. That's always interesting to me to think about how people lived in the past. Somebody living in these mountains 100 years or 200 years ago. What was their everyday life like? There's a place here where we live up off the parkway, Humpback Rocks, and they have a place like that there, a living farm. They've got a log cabin, and they have some farm buildings like barns. They have vegetable gardens and flower gardens, and everything is done how it would have been done 200 years ago when people were living up here. And they have programs for kids and grown-ups too. You can go and learn about how people used to live and what it was like to live in the mountains here before all our modern conveniences, roads, electricity, running water, all of that. And all these fall colors in here. Almost done with our landscape. As Swifty and I were driving around yesterday, I was noticing there are an awful lot of fall colors, but there are actually just a couple of holdout green trees too. There might be a little yellowing around the edge of the leaves, but they are the holdouts. They're like, we're gonna hold on to this green until the bitter end. Am I ready to let it go yet? I think here though in this next week is going to be pretty darn chilly, so that may be the end of all the green leaves. Like I said, up here in our woods, it's starting to look pretty bleak. There's not much green leaves left up here. Couple of trees holding on to some color. Oh yeah, there's definitely purple fall color. There's more variety in the fall than I really think about sometimes. You know what? Like when I think about nature being full of flowers, I think about spring. I think because, winter is so bleak and then spring sort of explodes with flowers. But I noticed last year that I think there's more wildflowers out in the fall, really, than there are in the spring. Just looking around, it's like, shoo, flower explosion. Hey, there we go. Some fall mountains. One way to make a landscape. I know what this picture is missing. My signature. Yeah, Squeak, isn't it really interesting to really closely observe nature and look at all the colors that are out there, all the variety, all the designs? Mother Nature is amazing. All right, now I've signed it. Cool. Well, I'm grateful for fall in the mountains because it's so beautiful. I'm also grateful for being able to create every day. It's a blessing to be able to have a creative profession where I can call my own shots. And all right, Squeak and Bill, it was good to see you. Glad you stopped by. Have fun with your mail call. Can't wait to see it. Oh, and Jerry said he found a colonial buckle. I think that was a landing site. Oh, interesting. I can't wait to hear more about those finds. Yeah, Swifty found mm, musket ball. Is that what it was?
The muscle ball, yeah.
Musket ball today, like from the Civil War.
Jerry
So,
found one too.
oh, Jerry found one too. Yeah. So it was a musket ball kind of day, a Civil War kind of day. And for me, it was a drawing kind of day. It was really good. And this is a really good way to wrap up the day. And I think I'm going to head out here soon and take care of a couple of other things that I need to take care of before I can call it a night. But I'm really grateful that you stopped by. Those of you who are with me live, or if you're watching the replay, thanks to you too. And thanks for checking out my art. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for liking this video. I'm grateful for you. Hope you have a really happy Thanksgiving and you find lots to be grateful for in your life. And I'll see you again next Sunday. Bye for now.